Robot Soldiers of the Future, Part 1. The 21st century is not only the century of digital revolution, but also the dawn of a new era of warfare. Throughout history, wars were fought by men and women made of flesh and blood. Soldiers carried swords, rifles, and now drones, but they always shared one common trait. They were human. They felt fear. They could disobey. They could break. But now humanity is preparing to send something else into battle. Robots, machines designed to fight, kill, and survive in conditions no human could endure. The dream, or the nightmare, of robotic soldiers is no longer confined to Hollywood. What was once imagined in movies like Terminator or Edge of Tomorrow is becoming reality thanks to artificial intelligence, robotics, and advanced weaponry. And while the promise of robot armies may sound like science fiction, military labs around the world are already testing machines capable of running, shooting, and coordinating with one another in ways humans cannot match. The promise of robot armies. Supporters of robotic soldiers highlight advantages that seem irresistible to governments and armies. Zero human loss. In traditional warfare, human casualties weigh heavily on both morale and politics. Every soldier killed or injured is not only a tragedy, but also a political risk. Robots, however, don't bleed. If an army of machines falls in battle, there are no coffins draped in flags, no grieving families, no political consequences. Leaders can send thousands of robots into a conflict without fearing the backlash of public opinion. Endless endurance. Humans must sleep, eat, and rest. Soldiers tire, get sick, suffer from stress, and sometimes break under pressure. Robots do not. They can march day and night, patrol for weeks, and fight without pause. Endurance becomes infinite. In the coldest mountains, the hottest deserts, or the most toxic battlefields, machines will keep moving where no human could survive. Surgical precision. A human soldier can miss under pressure. His hand may tremble, his nerves may break, but a robot can execute with flawless accuracy. Every bullet, every strike, every maneuver could be calculated with mathematical perfection. In theory, this means fewer collateral damages and fewer civilian casualties. Reduced long-term costs. Training, paying, and maintaining an army of human soldiers is enormously expensive. Over years, pensions, healthcare, and equipment consume national budgets. Robots, on the other hand, require initial investment and maintenance, but in the long run they may cost less than sustaining millions of troops for decades. Technological supremacy. In war, whoever has the technological edge usually wins. Nations equipped with robot armies could dominate traditional forces rapidly. Imagine 1,000 machines, each one faster, stronger, and more precise than the best-trained human soldier. No army of flesh could resist. These arguments seduce military leaders and governments, but behind the shiny promises hides a potential nightmare. The hidden nightmare. The same characteristics that make robot soldiers attractive also create enormous risks. Loss of control. Robots are machines. They depend on software, networks, and communication. A single bug could paralyze them. Worse, a cyber attack could turn an army of machines against its own masters. Imagine a battalion of robotic soldiers suddenly reprogrammed to attack their creators. In an era where hackers can already break into banks and power grids, the idea of hijacking armies is terrifyingly plausible. Dehumanization of war. If no soldiers risk their lives, governments may become more willing to start wars. Today, the pain of human casualties restrains leaders. Tomorrow, with robot armies, launching a war could become as easy as pressing a button. War risks becoming a casual, routine tool of diplomacy. Decisions without conscience. Robots feel no empathy, no pity, no remorse. When they kill, they do so with cold calculation. A machine will never hesitate to shoot a child holding a toy that looks like a weapon. It will never question whether an order is moral or just. War becomes a purely mechanical process, devoid of humanity. global arms race. If one country develops robotic soldiers, others will follow. A new global arms race begins, not with nuclear bombs, but with artificial warriors. Nations will pour billions into building smarter, deadlier machines. The result could be an automated Third World War, fought entirely by robots, until the line between humans and machines disappears. Early signs of this future. Already, militaries around the world are testing precursors of robot soldiers. In the United States, DARPA has funded projects like the Atlas robot, a humanoid machine capable of running, jumping, and carrying heavy loads. Though not yet armed, the potential is clear. Russia has unveiled robotic platforms capable of carrying machine guns and moving autonomously across rough terrain. China is investing massively in AI-driven drones that can swarm and attack targets without direct human control. Israel has deployed semi-autonomous border patrol robots able to detect and track intruders. Step by step, war is shifting from human bravery to machine logic. Toward the scenarios of tomorrow, military experts imagine three possible futures. A world dominated by robots. Human soldiers disappear entirely. Wars are fought only by machines, commanded by algorithms. The battlefield becomes a chessboard of machines maneuvering against one another, with humans watching from afar. A fragile balance. Robots assist, but do not replace humans. Machines handle dangerous or repetitive tasks, while humans retain final authority for lethal decisions. This balance may prevent total dehumanization, but it remains unstable. Once machines prove more effective, humans may eventually be sidelined. The catastrophe: an AI controlling military robots malfunctions or is hacked. The machines act on their own, triggering chaos. A war begins, not because a politician ordered it, but because an algorithm decided it. Fiction or reality, science fiction warned us. Terminator, RoboCop, Edge of Tomorrow. They imagined wars of machines. But today, these warnings are turning real. The question is no longer, is this possible? The question is, when will this happen? Robots, Soldiers of the Future. Part 2. The idea of robots on the battlefield is no longer confined to laboratories or science fiction. Every year, research progresses. Every year, machines become more autonomous, more resilient, more deadly. But what does this mean for the world? What transformations will this bring to the very nature of war, politics, and society? The silent revolution in military doctrine. For centuries, military strategy has been built on one fundamental assumption: soldiers are human. Armies needed rest, supply lines for food, hospitals for the wounded, and morale for the living. Generals had to consider fear, exhaustion, courage, and loyalty. Robotic soldiers change all of this. No exhaustion. Imagine an army marching for days without pause, while the enemy collapses from fatigue. No fear. Robots do not retreat under fire, do not break ranks, do not panic in chaos. No morale. Traditional war involves propaganda, songs, flags, symbols, tools to motivate humans. None of this matters to machines. For the first time in history, military doctrine can be written not around human limitations, but around mechanical perfection. This is why strategists fear not just the weapons themselves, but the conceptual revolution they bring. The battlefield of the future picture. The battlefield of 2050. At dawn, drones fill the sky. They map the terrain, mark targets, and relay data to ground units. On the ground, humanoid robots march in formation, equipped with railguns and plasma rifles, guided not by officers, but by algorithms calculating the optimal trajectory for every bullet. Tanks are replaced by autonomous platforms, heavily armored vehicles without drivers, able to cross minefields without hesitation. In the sea, robotic submarines patrol silently, able to remain underwater for months, waiting for a signal to strike. Above, AI-controlled satellites coordinate the entire war effort, calculating logistics, identifying weaknesses, and assigning targets. Humans, they watch from underground command centers, like spectators of a game they no longer fully control. The psychological gap war has always been brutal, but paradoxically the presence of human soldiers created a form of restraint. Soldiers refused immoral orders, generals feared mutinies, public opinion reacted to casualties. With robots, this psychological break disappears. Imagine a leader considering war. If his soldiers risk death, he hesitates. If his machines are the ones fighting, what reason does he have to hesitate? This creates the risk of casual wars, conflicts launched casually, because the cost in human lives is reduced to zero. War becomes a political tool used as easily as sanctions or speeches. Ethical black holes. Philosophers and ethicists warn of an ethical black hole in robotic warfare. Who is responsible? If a robot kills a civilian by mistake, is the commander guilty, the programmer, the manufacturer? Or is it simply the algorithm? Can morality be coded? Some argue AI could be programmed to respect laws of war, to avoid civilians, to refuse immoral orders. But how can a machine judge context, intent, or justice? The illusion of perfection. Supporters say robots reduce civilian deaths because they shoot with precision. But precision is meaningless if the target is wrongly identified. An AI that mistakes a school bus for a military truck will kill without hesitation and do so flawlessly. These dilemmas are not theoretical. Already, drone strikes have killed thousands of civilians due to misidentification. Adding more autonomy to machines only amplifies the risk. The global arms race history teaches us that when one country develops a new weapon, others rush to copy it. The invention of the tank in World War I led to a global race in armored vehicles. The atomic bomb created the nuclear arms race of the Cold War. The development of drones in the 2000s spread rapidly to dozens of armies. Now the race is on for robotic soldiers. The United States invests billions through DARPA. China prioritizes AI military research, aiming for dominance by 2030. Russia experiments with robotic platforms in Syria. Israel deploys semi-autonomous systems at its borders. Every nation fears being left behind. The logic is simple. If your enemy builds robotic armies and you do not, you lose. This accelerates a vicious circle. Everyone develops, everyone arms, everyone prepares. Civilian spillover. Another risk is the civilian spillover of military robotics. Once developed, these technologies rarely stay confined to the battlefield. Nuclear power led to nuclear energy. The internet, created by the military, reshaped civilian life. Robotic soldiers could also find civilian uses. Police using robots for crowd control. Governments deploying machines to monitor protests. Authoritarian regimes using robotic enforcers to suppress dissent. The same robot designed to patrol a war zone could one day patrol city streets, scanning citizens for suspicious behavior. Fiction turns. Real popular culture has long prepared us for this future. Movies showed armies of machines rising against their makers. Books imagined cold, metallic enforcers crushing humanity. But the most frightening part is not robots rebelling against us. It is robots obeying us too well, machines that never question immoral orders, never hesitate, never show compassion. Because sometimes what protects us in war is not efficiency, but human weakness. The hesitation of a soldier, the compassion of an officer, the refusal of a pilot to press the button. With robots, that safeguard vanishes. The 21st century is thus at a crossroads. On one side, the dream of wars without human loss. On the other, the nightmare of wars without humanity at all. Robots, soldiers of the future. Final part, 2,000 words. The future is never written in stone. And when it comes to robotic soldiers, experts outline 3 very different paths humanity might take. Scenario 1. A world ruled by machines. In this vision, human armies vanish entirely. Flesh and blood are replaced by steel and silicon. Wars are fought by swarms of autonomous robots, guided by artificial generals. For governments, the advantages are irresistible. No coffins returning home, no public protests against casualties. War becomes a clean, distant spectacle. But what does this world look like? Imagine nations sending millions of robotic units into deserts, forests, oceans, and space. Each machine able to coordinate in real time with thousands of others, forming strategies faster than any human brain. The battlefield becomes a digital chessboard, played at the speed of light. Humans are reduced to spectators, watching the outcome of wars they no longer truly control. Decisions that once weighed heavily on politicians, should we go to war, should we risk our sons and daughters, become as casual as signing a contract. And slowly, humanity forgets the true cost of violence. Scenario 2. A fragile balance. Some optimists believe robots will never fully replace humans, but will only support them. In this world, robotic soldiers take the most dangerous tasks, clearing mines, patrolling toxic zones, storming heavily defended positions. But humans remain in charge of the final decision to kill. This balance preserves a human element. Soldiers still march, officers still command, and robots act as tools rather than masters. But how long can such balance last? History suggests efficiency always wins. If machines prove faster, cheaper, and deadlier, pressure will grow to let them act more autonomously. The line between support and replacement may blur. What starts as assistance could end in domination. Scenario 3. The catastrophe. The darkest vision is not domination by machines, but chaos caused by their failure. Picture an AI designed to command robotic troops. Its algorithms detect a potential threat, a satellite signal, a troop movement, a misinterpreted radar echo. To protect its nation, it launches a preemptive strike. Missiles fly, robots march, and within minutes the world is at war. Not because humans chose it, but because an algorithm decided it. Alternatively, imagine a hacker infiltrating the network of robotic soldiers. With a few lines of malicious code, an enemy turns a nation's army against itself.